Hey, and welcome back to Unexpectedly Bizarre Media Part 2. Yeah, you all seem to love the first episode that I did. It's my most viewed video on the channel, which I really appreciate. So hey, I figured I would bring you a Part 2. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1. Slniečko. So Slniečko was a Czechoslovakian children's TV show that ran from 1979 to 1989 in Czechoslovakia. Slniečko roughly translates to sunshine or little sun, which makes sense because of the main character on the show being like kind of like a sun hand puppet of some kind. There's rumored to be about 500 episodes of Slniečko made, but nearly all of them are actually lost today. But from what we know, the majority of episodes consisted of 4 main segments. The first being a segment featuring Slniečko herself. At the beginning of every episode, she would appear on the screen, kind of acting as like a narrator and kind of introduce the topic they would be talking about during the episode. And she would also kind of drop in to transition from one segment to another. Another segment featured this guy, whose name was Refakt Placha, sorry if I butchered that, which actually his name translates to Big Nose Blanket. And he's reportedly really only there to parody elderly people and politicians. More often than not, he appears on screen to kind of like interact with kids, but he does occasionally appear on screen by himself too. When he was on set with the children, he would try to partake in the same activities that they were learning, but he would kind of just fail miserably every time. Basically just kind of like a comic relief / parody character. He would also try to mislead the audience at home with like false information, only to be corrected by the kids. But other than that, I mean, he's kind of nightmare fuel. He's like genuinely really scary. I don't know why they had to make him so scary. I guess I can kind of see him being like funny. He is funny, but he's scary too. I mean, imagine seeing this guy in your room at night. No thank you. Number 2.
Nicktoons Get Zombified.
So this one is actually an entry that's been partially found. This user, who goes by the name of P-Man, posted this on the Lost Media Wiki, asking if anyone had remembered a Halloween-themed Nickelodeon bumper from 2010, where Bessie from The Mighty Bee, if you guys remember that show, where Bessie slowly moved across the screen as a groaning and grotesque zombie. A few seconds later, her glasses would fall off, revealing her lifeless eyes, followed by either lightning or screaming. I'm glad this one was found because this was such a blast from the past for me. I do remember seeing this as a kid, and I actually remember being kind of freaked out by it too, because at the time I had not watched like Adult Swim or anything like that, so this was kind of like the first scary clip that I had seen on actual TV before. I don't know, kind of cool stuff, especially coming from Nickelodeon. There were actually multiple of these bumpers too. A few that have been found include The Fairly Odd Parents and Fanboy and Chum Chum. But there are also rumored to be others that have not been found yet. Like apparently there's a SpongeBob one, which I feel like I vaguely remember. Yeah, and a bunch of other Nickelodeon shows that were popular at the time. But it's unknown exactly how many of them were made. Number 3. Mr. Bill's Neighborhood. So for those of you who don't know, Mr. Bill was a character introduced on SNL in 1976 as a response to a prompt from SNL to send in home movies. The Mr. Bill Show was created by Walter Williams as a parody of bad animation or bad kid shows in general at the time. So Mr. Bill's Neighborhood was a canceled 1983 Atari game based on the Mr. Bill Show. And it was actually set to be the very first ever Mr. Bill game. And it basically would have consisted of you playing as Mr. Bill, of course, trying to save his family from his arch nemesis Slugo. I'm not sure which it is, but he's this blue guy. And Mr. Bill's efforts would have been hampered by speeding traffic, streets with dead ends, and Mr. Hands.
What's Daddy?
It was like this pair of hands, kind of like the ones in SpongeBob.
Oh, Hans!
who would grab Mr. Bill and push him towards Sluggo. The game was actually finished and was set to be released, but was cancelled because of the company's previous licensed game called Journey Escape doing so poorly that they couldn't afford the licensing fees. It's thought that the video game crash of 1983 would have stopped its release anyway. Number 4. The Big Comfy Couch Xbox game. So, The Big Comfy Couch was actually a huge personal favorite show of mine as a kid. It's a Canadian children's TV show that ran on YTV from 1992 to 1996, with 2 additional seasons that aired on Treehouse TV between 2002 and 2006. The show revolves around a clown named Lunette and her living doll named Molly, who solve problems every episode on their big comfy couch. In each episode, Lunette reads Molly a story, and she also performs something called the clock rug stretch. By the end of every episode, one of them will make a big mess.
Wait a minute. Who made this big mess?
Which then requires them to do the 10-second tidy. In 2011, an article was posted on Unseen64 website about the canceled game series developed in 2004 for the Xbox. And before then, not much was known or even heard about the Big Comfy Couch Xbox game. But when it was posted on Unseen64, it also came along with screenshots from the game too, proving its existence. The first screenshot showed that it was going to be a 3D platformer. The second showed that it would actually have Xbox Live support, but the third showed Lunette being beaten by some dust bunnies, which were characters on the show, covered in blood, quote-unquote blood. And at some point, a Discord user who goes by the name of Chris Tang joined the LMW Discord server, posting some more screenshots and a couple screen recordings of the game. And he also clarified that the blood from the last screenshots that we got was not blood, it was grape juice, which makes much more sense for the series. And Chris said, in his words, "I have the only physical hardware this game ever ran on, but I do not have access to it, and I don't know that I ever will. But I do plan on making videos or something." And he kept his word. In December 2022, Chris finally got the hardware to work, and he uploaded the gameplay footage running on it. And he stated that he would upload even more footage at some point. And that is the footage that you have been seeing. And Chris does say that he will upload more footage at some point. So hey, I'll actually put his channel in the description, so if you guys are interested, you can keep up with that. By the way, did anyone else watch Big Comfy Couch? Because that was one of my favorite shows as a kid, and I feel like I never hear about it, but I know it was pretty popular, like I said, in the early to late 90s, kind of maybe like early 2000s era. So hey, if anyone else has watched it, let me know what your favorite character from the show was in the comments. Number 5, Backrooms origin photo. So the Backrooms phenomenon was introduced on May 12, 2019 on 4chan's Paranormal board, when an image of an eerily empty office room was uploaded explaining the Backrooms concept. However, an earlier copy of the photo was actually found on the random board uploaded on April 8th, 2018. But when you look at the data from that image, it has a JPEG code that reveals it to be uploaded all the way back in 2012. However, that post has been lost to time and it cannot be found anymore. But it is reported that the picture of the Backrooms from 2012 was also not the original. And the metadata from that picture also goes back to 2001, implying that the photo may have been taken sometime all the way back in the early 2000s. There have been a lot of false leads into the search for the original Backrooms photo. Some people claim that it was actually taken off of a camera that was found at a yard sale. That was debunked and proven false. Other people claim that images were traced back to a location on Google Earth, so people were trying to figure out where the photo was taken to maybe give them some clues, but that was actually also proven false. The location didn't have any real connection to the original photo. It was just part of some ARG that someone had been making. There are also photo theories that the image may have been created by an AI and doesn't really exist anywhere at all, but that was also proven false, once again due to the metadata from the picture. tracing it back to 2001, 2002. And the search goes on today. No one is quite sure of where this strange, very creepy photo came from. Maybe it really was from the Backrooms. But I always found this to be another pretty interesting piece of lost media. Just because of how hard people have been searching for the origins of this photo and no one can seem to find it, it's very interesting. But I will put a link to all the sources for that in the description. But yes, those were some more of the most unexpectedly bizarre pieces of lost media. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making it. As always, yeah, I definitely plan to do more of these types of videos in the future just because I have a lot of fun like researching and editing these because it's all really interesting stuff. And yeah, also sorry for that. I am back on track now. In general, I just went through a pretty big move. I missed the upload last week, but shouldn't happen again. I should be back on track now. I'm planning on uploading some more vlogs and gameplays too, which will be fun. Also, hey, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment below and tell me what other kind of content you want to see because I really like to talk to you guys in the comments. And speaking of interaction, I am going to be posting my Discord server link in the description below and in the future and all the future videos too. I'll have the Discord in the description because like I said, I really enjoy interacting with you guys. But yes, that's all for now. So until next time, I will see you later.